So here's a highlight of kind of what I've just mentioned, core focus areas ahead for us. Certainly Korea, our ongoing work in China, we've been very, very active in the Chinese market. And just kudos again to Representative Richardson for his efforts in promoting China and for legislators that have had the opportunity to do some work there. It really is a benefit to all of us. Southeast Asia, and finally, the issues around market-based certification. Many of these countries require certification of some kind or another. We can't lose sight of still our number one market, Japan and Taiwan, which is also a very, very important market for us. And I think one of the things that I really want to emphasize, we in our marketing division are not just working at bringing buyers and sellers together. There are a number of technical issues that we deal with on a daily basis in shipping products. In the trade, they're known as non-tariff trade barriers, and they can be just as difficult, if not more complex, to sort through than typically tariff kinds of trade barriers. Mentioned Korea, also opportunities there because of assuming the Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement becomes ratified, opportunities with seafood, wine, and shipping potatoes. What we have seen in the last 3 to 5 years is a loss of market share for U.S. agricultural products in Korea because of free trade agreements they have signed with other countries. And those other countries can bring their products in cheaper than we can in the U.S., and we're losing market share in Korea. China, here we've been working a lot on a technical side, trying to establish a lab-to-lab relationship that we currently have with the Oregon Department of Agriculture in Japan, Taiwan, and Korea. We've probably spent coming up on 5 to 6 years on that effort in China, keeping our fingers crossed that we can still move that forward. Certainly trying to get fresh blueberries into that market, which will probably take another 10 years, but we've got to get started somewhere. China is a very complex market, particularly on the non-tariff trade barrier side. We spend a lot of time on these issues, and then we've been working to get nursery products into China following, really we were active there prior to the 2008 Beijing Olympics with their focus on beautification of China, and we've been able to maintain opportunities in that market for Oregon nursery products. Southeast Asia, as I mentioned, potatoes, also opportunities with fresh fruit and berries, food service ingredients, and seafood. And then, as I'd mentioned, certifications. These countries require testing for pesticide residue levels, good agricultural, good handling practices, and now one of the newest certification initiatives on the global scale is the Global Food Safety Initiative. So we've got to make sure we're up to speed and able to provide that service to growers in Oregon. That concludes my part of the presentation.
Any questions?
Brief one.
Representative Jensen.
Just curious on China and the beautification. I was over there on one of these junkets a number of years ago.
Not a junket.
China was the number one market for the grass seed industry here. Is that still holding?
Mr. Co-Chair, Representative Jensen, that is correct. Oregon grass seed has 60% of the grass seed market in China. It's still very, very important to us. Many of you know, you've heard me say before, we were just there, Tiananmen Square is planted in Oregon grass seed. It's a little bit of the square that actually has grass, but it's still a very, very important market for Oregon grass seed.
Follow. Are we looking and working with developing a sustainability of that market?
Mr. Co-Chair, Representative Jensen, yes. Governor Kulongoski, his first trade mission as governor was to China, and he kills me every time he sees me to this day because we actually did a seminar where we were training them on how to plant and maintain grass. Because the whole notion of, at that time, I noticed a stark difference just in my most recent trip. it was just cement everywhere.
Yeah.
And the notion that they would plant grass and then water it and mow it made no sense to
It
them
doesn't make
whatsoever.
any sense to me.
Right.
But,
So we were trying to explain to them why this did make sense.
Representative Jensen's looking into astroturf.
But certainly from an environmental perspective, grass, nursery products, trees, all of those things, huge opportunities for benefit in China. And having varieties that require minimum maintenance is also a helpful thing. They don't quite keep their grass as nicely manicured as we do in the U.S., so.
At quite an expense for us, especially in terms of water use.
Yeah.